Welcome to the new Overlords Podcast. I'm Max, that's Sema, and we talk about video games. Hello there, Sema.
Yes, we do, whether we need to or not.
Yes, we talk about video games so you don't have to talk about video games. You don't.
And today we need to, as we do on every day.
Hey, Sema, 2026 is heating up. We got big things coming in the next 2 weeks. One in particular that we keep asking about is tomorrow. You surprised me, and
Yes.
I did not realize that midnight was actually coming tomorrow. So it's the last time to ask, are you prepared?
Well, it's very weird that I have been preparing, in my mind early because I
Right.
wanted to kind of wanted to get out of the way because we have Total Galactic War this week in Star Wars. But yeah, pre-release midnight or early release, 3 days early that I foolishly bought, is tomorrow. Starts tomorrow, and it was going to be Friday, and even that was catching me kind of flat-footed. But they moved it up to Thursday, maybe in case they have I don't know, launch problems, and then people go, "Well, I'm paying for early access." Blah, blah, blah. So
Oh, yeah.
this
You
gives
owe
them a
me
little.
5 minutes of game time. I expect a credit on my account, which someone would
Yeah,
do.
I'm looking forward to that, and I'm gonna try and approach it differently. I'm gonna try and smell the roses as I go instead of quick as I can get to max level.
At
We'll see
least
how
that's
that.
your plan.
That's my plan. I have had different plans in the past, and no plan has ever survived. So we'll see.
No plan survives first contact with the enemy orcs
Or the launch. Yeah.
or launch of any game. Yeah. Well, why don't we get into the news? Because the granddaddy, the owner, the Pops leader over Blizzard, which I
Yep.
keep forgetting also, has retired. So let's click the news
Yeah.
button.
Good news, everyone!
Well, not really good news, depending on how you look at it. In fact, in my view, a lot of people don't mind the news. A lot of people are so on the news, but Phil Spencer is retiring, has announced his retirement. So it's not actually retired yet.
Yeah.
When did they say when it's actually going to be completed?
I think they said he was going to be available throughout the summer for helping with transition.
But it's pretty much it's a done deal because Asha's in now. So yeah, so he's out, but he's helping with transition.
It's bad news for me because I am a Phil Spencer fan.
Yeah.
And also change. I don't like change in general. It takes me a minute before I can be reasonable about change. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy for him because retirement, I recommend it. If you can do it, it's great. And so I think, and for him to make a decision like that for himself and for his life, if that's what's going on, I'm happy for him.
38 years at Microsoft. He was
That's
at
a lot.
38
That's a lot.
years. He deserves to retire if he
Yeah.
feels like it. A lot of speculation floating around whether it was actually retirement or he was forced out. At 38 years, call it whatever you want. He's certainly warranted to retire. And as you say, he can do whatever he
also,
wants.
We're never going to know which it is. So
Right.
I'm just going to go with what he actually said.
Now, Sarah Bond, his second in command, did resign. And that you can speculate all you want. You won't find out what the truth is behind that either. But that I could see being lots of reasons and just her wanting to move on because she is not, which I think she probably wanted because she's been second in command for so long. She is not the new head. The new head is Asha Sharma.
Yes.
So Asha Sharma has stepped into the CEO role. There's a lot of speculation about what the deal is with that. People are, just like in the gamer threads. Dude, this is terrible. Nobody knows if it's terrible or not. She doesn't come from a gaming background, but she comes from an executive background. And the Xbox division at Microsoft is a multi-billion-dollar business. Being a good business administrator, we were talking about this in the pre-show. Being a good business administrator and an executive leader is probably much, much more important than how much you are a gamer when you're the head of many billions dollars worth of business. As long as you put good actual gaming people running the individual divisions and making the games decisions, you're still gonna have to run a multi-billion-dollar business.
Right. If you surround yourself with smart people and smart, creative, empathetic gamers, and you listen to them, that could be a winning formula.
Yes. But at its core, we don't know. And any
And
speculation right now about what this means, oh, this means they're shutting down Xbox. Okay. I guess if you spew enough wild ass theories, you're bound to get one of them right someday, and then you can claim to be a genius. So,
yeah, I mean, I wish her luck because I want Xbox to be successful, and I want Microsoft, because I feel like that is so crucial to the whole gaming picture.
yes.
So I want them all to be successful.
Now, as you said, I'm still sad that Phil Spencer is leaving because I thought he was a good example of what you could have as a gaming executive. And maybe Asha will grow into that or turn into that as well. But I kind of like the idea of more of a games person leading a big game company, even if it ends up in a role where you're not really making any game decisions anymore, which Phil may have been at this point. I like Todd Howard in charge of Bethesda. That kind of makes sense to me. It's a fun idea of somebody who's made games and is a gamer in charge. These giant companies, though, having just an executive in charge and having games people in charge of the actual divisions making the games, or the studios, or the studio head, or the creative leads, that's the way those will typically go, and that's fine.
I get that. I kind of think it's like writers that are attractive. It's like it's great for the publisher because they can put a big old picture of the author on the back of the book and they're attractive and it helps sell his book, but it has so little to do with how good of a writer they are. I
Yeah.
kind of feel like that. Like it would be icing on the cake if it was a dedicated gamer.
Yeah.
Not really affected in the end if she's good at the things that really matter.
Yes. At that level. For a smaller company?
At that level,
Yeah.
a smaller company, completely different. Yeah.
So we shall see how that goes. I'm still an Xbox fan, and Xbox means a lot of things these days too. So you can't say Xbox is just making midnight. There's the network, there's Game Pass, there's the infrastructure which runs a lot of games for a lot of indie studios. There's many. There's the hardware division. There's many things that are Xbox these days. I'm a fan of most of it.
People are already saying, I'm sorry, I'm chuckling as I say this, but they're already saying, WoW is just going to be all made by generative AI now.
So in her resume, Asha has recently done some work in an AI division inside of Microsoft. That also doesn't mean she's some AI scientist or AI evangelist or proponent.
Right. And part of the reason why I'm chuckling is the sudden leap, but also if you think every gaming company of a certain size isn't already using AI tools of some type, you're just wrong.
Right. At a minimum, if you do a Google search, you're using AI. So then it scales up from there.
Right.
So we'll see.
I mean, yeah. Well.
But just to say this means X, you're talking out your ass. But again, talk out your ass enough times, and one of those emissions is going to come true, and then you get to claim that your farts are sentient or whatever the case may be.
One of these emissions.
Speaking of other gaming executives, Todd Howard has been out there doing a couple interviews over the past few weeks and saying some interesting things. I think it was the Kind of Funny podcast. I think that was the main one that he was on. And it was some pretty candid, honest, open comments about Starfield, about Elder Scrolls, about those kinds of things that a lot of people really appreciated. And we're like, hey, this is like real words coming out of a executive's mouth. I mean,
namely, he said that if you didn't like Starfield, that's okay. You might not like this update to Starfield either. We're not changing things radically here. And I mean, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. We're doing some new stuff. But it's not a reboot. If you didn't like it originally, this is probably not going to change your mind. Whereas either, I don't want to say the old Todd Howard, but at times Todd Howard has been a very sales kind of focused wordsmith mouthpiece kind of thing. You could have imagined him steering away from that kind of statement and saying, new things are coming to Starfield. I think this is really going to bring a lot of people into the game. Just trying to like hype it up and sell. But no, I think this was pretty honest and open and great. Okay, that's fine. And then just continuing comments that they're working hard on Elder Scrolls 6. So he said, we'll return to Bethesda's classic style after detours with Starfield, Fallout 76. I don't think that Starfield or Fallout 76 diverged that much from Bethesda's classic style. But a lot of people would say that they have. So maybe it's trying to steer much more towards that RPG sandbox.
Right.
But Starfield has a lot of that in it. That's what I don't get or I don't understand. But this could also be a little bit, sort of a buzz phrase for the hardcore fans of Elder Scrolls 6. Although he's got to be careful of expectations. I would be couching this in, we're going to try hard to get back to some of that. We hope you'll be happy with it. We'll see what we can do. Because if you say return to Bethesda's classic style and then you put it out and it's not every single thing everyone ever wanted it to be, you're going to have detractors saying, this is not Bethesda's classic style. He lied. Why did you lie to me, Todd? Somebody's going to say that. But yeah, great. Good to hear from Todd Howard. And I'm excited for Elder Scrolls 6 in 2030.
I wish more people would speak this way about their games.
Yes.
And just admit that every game isn't for everybody and stop trying to make your marketing just fit everything.
Right. I mean,
alrighty then.
I can see the reason for doing it is, of course, money. But maybe sacrifice a little bit of the money.
Right, but but they are sacrificing a little bit of money by doing that because then they have lost, trust.
Long-term goodwill.
Yeah, right. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. You'd think. But people's memories are short and then they go and buy the next thing anyway. So maybe. I would rather I would rather feel like I have integrity and avoid asking my accountant what the actual decision should be. Right. Because the answer could be, while you would potentially have some bad press and bad will, you will make double the amount of money if you promise now and underdeliver. It's like, never tell me the odds. never tell me the accounting.
Right.
Final sort of industry news. Capcom is freaking out about Resident Evil Requiem leaks. I guess people have data mined already the end of Resident Evil Requiem and are putting out spoilers for how the story ends and blah, 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 blah. Because there's a lot of that going on to the point where the game director, what's his name, has been just like out there pleading with the community to say, please don't do that. please don't. Guys, this is why we can't have nice things. Don't do that. It's very hard to keep that cat in the bag, though.
I would like to ruin this for everybody because I will get a click from it.
Yeah. People would be happy to ruin it for everybody. For a click at most. For someone to feel bad is enough for a lot of people as well. Snape kills Dumbledore. All right. We had a big Star Wars: The Old Republic live stream today, did we not, Sema?
We
For
did.
7.8.1. You want to walk us through while I pull up a video here of them chatting? Walk us through a
Yeah.
little bit of what they gave, what they talked about.
So what they're talking about is update 7.8.1, which is coming out soon. It's going to have a story beat called Masters Enigma Storyline. They did sort of emphasize to get current on the story because you are going to want to play Masters Enigma because the finale to this story is coming soon, like springtime frame. So get caught up on the story. They're calling this the penultimate chapter. They're also bringing out 2 date nights, which Torian, who's a bounty hunter companion, and Kira, who's what is Kira a companion for? Jedi Knight?
Jedi.
Anyway, 2 date nights. And what's interesting about these date nights to me is well, I guess everyone can play them, but basically the Torian one is for bounty hunters and the Kira one is for insert class here. It's like, that's interesting that they're making that content that way. But anyway, for a subset of the community. But I guess everyone at this point, everyone has a bounty hunter. Anyway.
of amongst us, yes. But no, you're right. For the people that have been, this does make me think. A lot of people have been demanding class-specific content.
Yeah.
This is class-specific content. So there you go.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that.
And they probably can answer the question if everyone has played all 8 classes and stories.
Right.
So maybe that's the answer they have. We're also getting the Spring Abundance Festival is coming soon. It's going to have a new reward, which they're very excited about, which is a bassinet with colorful Easter eggs in it. And by bassinet, the floating thing that we first saw in The Mandalorian that Grogu was in. It's that
Grogu
thing.
floats around in.
Yeah.
And it acts as a pet, so it floats around after you with a couple of colored Easter eggs in it.
Yes.
Which is fine. That's fine. We're all fine
it is
here.
Fine. I want it. I'm going to get it.
Of anything, yeah. Actually.
And I personally, I do not mind when they make references to reality in games. So I'm fine with it. Pop culture references.
True, that is weird. Is there probably is no precedent for there being Easter eggs. And that's probably one of like the least Star Wars things.
Yeah. Yes.
So that they could have put in that basket.
Yep.
That's weird.
They have a lot of stuff coming from the cartel market. That's always like a big part of these live streams is a preview of what's coming in the cartel market. We also are getting a new Galactic season, which they're doing in a new way. They haven't done this before, but Galactic Season 10 will see a revisit of Galactic Season 1 and Galactic Season 3. So they're doing 2 at the same time. And the sort of follow-on to that is later on in the year, we'll get Galactic Season 11, which will be 2 and 4, in case you were asking where is Galactic Seasons 2. And I think there's a reason why they're doing it this 1 and 3 and then 2 and 4, but I didn't capture it.
But the crux of it is they're mostly just putting the rewards that people missed into the reward track. So they're kind of like overloading the reward track of these next 2 seasons with a bunch of things that people missed and been asking for.
And I think one reason people have been asking for Galactic Season 1 to be revisited, at least the rewards, is that the companion. Now I might have the wrong season, but I think the companion, is that the one with the bug guy, is considered by many to be the top DPS companion. So if you don't have that, I definitely can see some FOMO for not having had a chance to get it.
Oh.
So now you will be able to get it.
Well, Machete in the chat room did not get that companion and is happy that it's coming back. So that's cool.
Yep, I'm happy. I'm happy for that reason.
I love that for you.
Yeah, yes, I do. And they did talk a little bit about that there will be an 8.0 and a lot about why they can't say more about it.
Yes.
They basically would like us to focus on the current story and be blown away by that than starting to worry about what's going to be in 8.0. So we will have opportunities to learn more about 8.0 throughout the year, but not right now.
Yeah. Which is fine. And I get that. There are definite reasons to do that. I would just spend less time talking about the fact that I can't talk about it and less time talking about someday I will talk about it. Which was, a good 5 to 10 minutes of the last segment of
I
Keith.
appreciate
Use Keith time to talk about something else, not
I appreciate their relationship. So basically, when Keith comes on at the end of the live stream, I feel like you'd be happier with it if you just see it as an opportunity to see how Eric and Keith interact with each other. And I imagine them doing this all the time. That's how they interact.
Yeah. I think like a little mini AMA between at the two of those would probably be a much better served at the time and be really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love an AMA. That's a great idea. And I also feel like they should do more not live streams, but like actual gameplay streaming. Like when Eric did some gameplay streaming right after the last live stream, I thought that was great. I think they should do that more. So an AMA and more gameplay streaming would be great.
He did claim in this update today that he would do that again.
So yes, he did.
Claimed. Less claiming and more doing. But they certainly did not say anything else about 8.0. They listed off, hey, we're going to have content. They did say group content, nothing more than that. So that could be as small as heroics on a planet or as big as something bigger than that. Why am I not guessing? Because apparently making wild ass unsubstantiated guesses is what everyone else does on the internet. I don't know. I really hope they do operations. That is the prime group content that to me makes an MMO. I would not put all of my money. I would not go all in that they will have operations, which is sort of like raid content, but I would really like it if they did. What is your guarantee, Sema?
I feel like when they say large group content, they may be playing with us a little bit. They might consider things large group content that aren't satisfying to us in the way the operations are.
Yes.
like bringing DVL bosses back.
Yes.
If they do that, do they consider that large group content?
Or as you were saying, like another Dantooine with the open world, large group, sort of dynamic encounter objectives.
Yeah.
Although I wouldn't mind more of that, but it's not.
No,
an
I wouldn't
operation.
either. Right. I feel like when they say large group content, I wish they would just say if they're not going to do more.
Yeah, if they're not going to do ops, just say we're not going to do ops. We've moved away from ops in this era of the game.
Right.
Because all we do every time is speculate.
Or we found that 2% of players actually play them. Apparently, if that's true, I'm in that 2%. But yeah.
Yeah, because they made the last two, they overtuned them so nobody can finish them, so people stop playing. Well, let's not get into that kind of discussion. Right. But yeah, I would love it if they have moved away from it, just to say that. Probably the PvP people have similar wishes. If you're not going to be doing new game modes and doing, not going to bring back ranked, just name off a couple of those top things that people really, really want and say, in this era of the game, we're certainly not going to be bringing back ranked PvP. We will not be doing ops, but we will be doing other things for group content that are really interesting. I
feel like, though, that they have said that about ranked PvP.
Yeah, that's true. They have. But even just, I more meant, which I guess they really kind of can't say this, but we're going to do nothing for the PvPers for the next year would be a harsh reality, but that may be the reality. But they probably haven't moved away from ever doing anything for PvP ever again.
No,
so what are they going to say?
I don't think they have. No, but
Yeah,
I think they had philosophical reasons for shutting down ranked PvP, and I don't think that's changed.
correct.
So
You're
yeah,
right.
I do hope that they do have updates for PvP. In fact, the PvP season is ongoing right now. It's closing soon though.
Yep. Let's talk a little bit about a couple of the things that we're excited about that are coming soon. As we said, Midnight is coming tomorrow. It's going to be a big week. Midnight is coming tomorrow. And, when it rains, it pours. This is what always ends up happening. Resident Evil Requiem is coming tomorrow. As you say, I did not realize that Midnight was coming tomorrow. I was planning on next week because that's when its
Yeah.
launch date is. I forgot
Right.
about early access. So I was planning on playing Resident Evil this weekend. I still may. We'll see.
I have that thing, which is not supposed to be a thing, but I have that thing that since I paid for it, I should play it.
Yeah, I'll probably play World of Warcraft. I mean, that fits more in line with what we would want to be talking about next week. We'll talk about Midnight. You're going to be playing it. I'm going to be playing it. We can have a Midnight show next week. And then if I need something to play after that, we can play some Resident Evil, which I am excited to try.
out,
I don't know why. As I said before, this is not in my typical wheelhouse, but I totally want to play this game now.
Did you read the links? Not links, the leaks? Are you like keeping
No.
yourself pristine?
No, yeah. Well, yeah. I don't. I'm not a big, don't spoil it for me,
know,
because I expect that I won't actually get to the end of the game anyway. So if you spoil the end of the game for me, it's not going to affect me at all. Because that it's a long ways and there's a lot of games to play. I typically don't get to the end of RPGs, so I'm going to need it spoiled for me at some point. So I
I'm
don't
pretty
care.
tolerant of spoilers too, partially because, it doesn't really matter because out of context, it doesn't make sense and I may not retain it anyway. Still be
Right.
blown away when I get to it.
Plus, in this day and age of everything being a remake or a prequel or a, just more, what was I ranting about last night? Oh, Highlander.
Oh yeah.
So they're remaking Highlander with Russell Crowe and who's the Highlander? What's his name? Henry Cavill is the Highlander, and I was like, oh, what? And is Chris Pratt in there too? And Jack Black? Just throw them all in there. I don't care. Woo-wee, this is going to be great. Let me guess. He defeats the Kurgan and becomes the one. There can be only one at the end, and it's him. So there's no. What's going to be the spoilers there? Nothing. There's nothing to spoil.
Machete says, "Is it really being released tomorrow, or did you get the date wrong?"
Touche.
Yeah. Touche. Machete.
Crimson Desert. Crimson Desert. Everybody having fun with the Crimson Desert? Yeah. I actually did a bunch of editing on both the video, which was weird because, forget it. Not a lot of people saw it. YouTube downplayed our video again last week. So for the dozens of people that actually saw it, I did extra editing so I could put myself into the video that went up on YouTube to have a disclaimer where I popped up in the middle of the podcast that said, I'm about to tell you something here about how Resident Evil is coming out tomorrow, or Crimson Desert's coming out tomorrow. And it's not. So if you can put up with that for the next 10 minutes, enjoy the rest of the podcast. Yeah, that still embarrasses me. But yeah, that Crimson Desert will be coming out in March. But March 3rd is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on Game Pass. So yeah, it's sad that Xbox is shutting down. But hopefully I'll get to play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Well, that's next week also. There's too many games to play.
Remember in 2023 when we were saying, "Oh my gosh, what a year! I'm sure next year will slow down." It has never slowed down.
No, it is not. It is only accelerated. There's Steam Next Fest is going on right now, and I've heard conflicting answers about how many games are in this Steam Next Fest. anywhere between 3,000 and 9,000 were the two numbers that I heard. So at least 3,000 games in Steam Next Fest right now of new games coming out. 20,000 games came out on Steam last year. There are a lot of new games. What is this? Is this like an extended trailer? What's going on here? I must have clicked through to an extended Resident Evil Requiem trailer. It's looking even more interesting. Now I want to play this game. But no, this weekend will be Midnight. But I played a lot of games this week. I only played them in like little hour chunks because I had a bunch of work to do as well. But let's move on so we can get to those, what we've actually been playing. Before we do that, though, this podcast is brought to you by Garden and a Goat, the upcoming game from Contemplation Games. For the people that have been following along, our open beta is still scheduled for mid-March now. We said early March. It's shifted a little bit, mostly because of Steam Next Fest, and there's just so much going on with it. We're going to push it a couple of weeks. It'll be mid-March. We'll give you the exact dates in our Discord and on this show as it gets a little bit closer, as we get into the first week in March. This podcast is also brought to you by Alea Iacta Est, AIE-guild.org. That's the gaming groups and gaming communities that we play with. We've been playing a lot of Star Wars: The Old Republic and World of Warcraft with our teams there, but there's Final Fantasy and ESO and LOTRO and STO, and, which I'll talk about today, there's some people playing Rust, and I'll talk all about what my time was like in there. Not pretty. Preview. This is also brought to you by all of you out there watching, listening, and in the chat room right now. Thanks, everyone, for being part of the show. We really appreciate it. All right, Sema.
You are not prepared.
Just a little bonus there for what we're going to be playing over the weekend.
You don't
Cannot
my
wait.
life. Yeah.
Sema is prepared. She is so prepared.
I am kind of prepared.
I'm up. I am apparently prepared because I actually had to go onto my account, my Blizzard account this morning to see if I had pre-ordered the game. I forgot I had because I wanted the housing and being able to do it in the fall. And you couldn't do that without doing the pre-order. So yes, I get to play it tomorrow, assuming I don't forget again. I played a bunch of things, though. So while I'm bringing up the things that I played, Sema, what did you play this week?
So I played, I think we mentioned that this week is special in Star Wars: The Old Republic for us because of Total Galactic War. So I've been playing Star Wars quite a bit, trying to make points for the guild and also level a character that I've been working on. So I've been having fun with that. And that's actually going to be the most of my gaming time this week. However, I did play some WoW. I played some Burning Crusade WoW with Stask, who's also another Star Wars player. It was like the day before Total Galactic War started. So we put in a big chunk of WoW time just as a
last blast before you get sucked into Star Wars.
Blast. Right. So it was a lot of fun. It was old style WoW, and we were playing in Darkshore, which is the Night Elf area. And we could only do this because all of my characters in the all my characters in the Burning Crusade version of WoW, the classic that's there right now, are mages that died in hardcore.
Right. And how many? There's like 30 of them all like piled into a server.
There's a bunch of them. And so I had to gut over to Night Elf Land, which isn't trivial in the old world. But it doesn't matter if you die. So I could have made the run, but instead right now, the Lunar Festival is going on. So you can get an invitation that lets you teleport to Moonglade, which is on the other continent. So that I was almost there. And for some reason, I cannot explain, when I picked up the flight point in Moonglade, I had it already had the flight point to Oberdeen, which is where we were playing. So
that's cool.
That was the main reason we could get together.
So what level is Stask now?
I want to say like 14, 15.
Oh, that seems much lower than I would expect. How is the leveling experience? Is it slow or fast these days? I'm so used to, like, didn't you start a new character in Star Wars: The Old Republic at go from like level 10 to level 60 this week already?
I started a new character. I started this character a few months ago though,
Okay.
and I've been doing I've done a little bit on her, and I think one other Total Galactic War. So I started her more like level 40 something this week.
Still 20 levels. What's the
It's
max
very
level though? I forgot we got level squish. So 14 isn't that low.
right, but Burning Crusade doesn't have a level squish. Burning Crusade is, I think, max level
Oh,
70.
this is classic Burning Crusade. Oh, that's where
Yeah.
you're playing?
Yes, that's
Oh.
right. So the leveling was classic version leveling. It's faster than classic vanilla because you get more, well, I don't know. I think you get more XP per quest.
And that's where Stask is playing? Why is Stask playing Burning Crusade and not retail?
I don't know.
Huh.
Oh, he's also playing retail. I don't know why he's
Oh.
doing it this way. But I just saw an opportunity to play WoW with a friend.
What? Games are jobs, Sema.
I mean, we did play some retail last week, remember? And him and Corley and I
Oh,
played
that's right.
retail. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it's messing with my mind to go back and forth through all the versions of retail for sure.
Yes.
Like Stas asked me something like, "How does this work?" Because I've been playing WoW for 20 years. He thinks I know, and I like, I think if you do what? No, I don't know.
Right.
It's like this. Oh wait, no, it's not like that.
Well,
Oh,
because
it
as
used
you
to be
say,
like
there's 4 answers right now, let alone how it used to work a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years ago.
in
So
the chat room. Stas is like, "I'm right here."
no, Stask, I'd rather have Sema speculate what's going on in your head. I think it's much more entertaining. Who knows?
So yeah, and then I did spend some time in retail playing inventory management, which is
Mhm.
weirdly satisfying too. Like I complain about it a lot, but when I'm actually doing it, sometimes I just get kind of focused and I'm like, I'm gonna put this one here, I'm gonna put that one there, I'm gonna delete this one, I'm never gonna need it. And I'm like, yay, that was fun.
I did it. Just my bag was full of weird stuff. And when I was doing the pre-patch event, the the Twilight Highlands deal,
Right? Yeah.
I in between, because it's like 5 minutes in between each of the bosses that you're out there killing. In
It was.
between, that's when I took the time, because I was sitting there anyway, of like looking at stuff in the bag and deciding what I was going to keep and deciding what I was just going to vendor, and it was great. And then so now I have like an empty bag on my hunter main that I'm going to be playing
Right.
in
And
midnight. So
they recently revamped how that all works too, so we have lots of inventory slots now,
yeah, it's great.
especially in the bank. Yeah.
So that is fun. All right. So this week we're going to be doing a bunch of SWTOR. We'll see what we have to do. So it's a guild challenge for the people that aren't familiar. Total Galactic War is a guild challenge. We've talked about it before. I will be interested to see what our target is, because we have to go up against other guilds if we want to win the planet. And it's the 1 week of this version. There's always planets to win every week, but usually it's only 3. So the top 3 biggest guilds on the server always win. But this week it's all the planets, and we have a shot of winning. But we still have to beat 10. The potentially dozens of other guilds that are going after the planet that we're going after. If we have an easy enough target and I don't need to be putting up a whole bunch of points, then I'll probably be playing more Midnight than Star Wars. Hopefully we don't end up in a big giant battle though, and we have to be putting in hours in SWTOR to get us over the line.
The hardest part about Total Galactic War to me is deciding which planet to invade. I just see the pros and cons of every argument, and I just freeze up.
Yep. So hopefully Stask, who's in the chat room, who's the current GM, makes the appropriate decision on what we're going to be doing this week.
Yes, we hope your decision is appropriate.
Yes, you better make the right choice. Otherwise, mutiny. Speaking of mutiny, I played some of that. We'll get to that in just a second. Windrose.
That is quite the segue.
Before we get to the mutiny, I played a little bit more of Sons of the Forest. Not a lot, but a little bit more. And that game continues to be interesting, although also frustrating. I get that it's supposed to be hardcore. I kept dying, and then I'd like have to reload because these cannibals would come and fight me. So I'm out there.
Wait. Did they eat you?
They do. So
Ooh.
if you get like one chance. First, if they quote unquote kill you, they kind of like knock you out. They take you to their camp and they tie you to a post, and you wake up. Then it's like 20 seconds later, you wake up and you can pull out your knife and you can cut yourself down. You can run away. And then if they kill you again in relatively soon amount of time, then you die. And you have to start over or reload a save. Anyway, I kept getting killed. So then I was like, okay, well, do it again. Let's reload and start it again because I obviously it's because it's random that these cannibals spawn and they come and attack you while I'm trying to build up my base. I'm working on the base. I got Kelvin, the mute guy, who he's got ear damage. It's a cool little NPC companion that you can tell to go do things. I got him off chopping logs. I'm trying to make a fence, trying to build this fence, and the cannibals wander up. First, it's like 3 cannibals wander up. I'm like, oh crap. Okay, so and then like they kill me, whatever, because I wasn't looking, and they came up behind me, and they can like kill you in 1 or 2 hits. So bang, I'm dead. All right. I'm sorry if I'm like fine, reload, and then it like each time I reloaded, it was like a bad roll or something. At the 3rd time I re-rolled, and by the time I rage quit that particular session, I got like 8 of them. And there's these ones with the gold mask. Those are like elite ones. And so it was like 8 of them with an elite one, and they're all like coming after and like beating, like whacking on my camp and breaking stuff down. I'm like, what the hell is this? So anyway, obviously I need to get good.
Ugh. But yeah, that's gross.
I think I need to. I think I should have approached it differently. This is one of 2 games I should have approached differently this week. I think I should have gone much smaller with my first base, and also it matters where you put your base in this game, which is interesting. If it's too close to where one of the cannibal camps where they live, they do wander around, and you probably don't want to be close to them because then you have more of a chance of them coming after you. So I should have like gone
But
off
why do they have to
further.
be cannibals?
Well, there's not only cannibals. There's also gross mutants, and then there's also like primitive mud people. So you got that going for you. Which is I don't know. I didn't get the whole backstory. You're on some like weird secluded island where a bunch of experiments are going on. The cannibals, though, I think are just maybe like native cannibals that live there, but the mutants are mutants. Like they were like mutated by like bad science of some kind, I think. So I don't know what all their deal is.
Is a I think to make the bad guys cannibals in a way is like making it very clear that they are bad guys.
Yes,
So
that
that's
does help. You're not like killing people, which it might make you feel bad. Gamers don't typically feel bad, but it could be shooting puppies and kittens, and they would still do it.
It's kind of like bowling, right? Like you're just knocking the pins over because you want the points.
Mm-hmm. Why do you feel bad for the pins when you bowl, Sema?
I mean, no, that was kind of my point.
Oh, yeah. I know. I was just expecting with you that you probably did have sympathy for the pins from time to time.
Fair. That was fair.
So that was one game that I played wrong and badly, but still continues to be interesting. I really like seeing the diegetic, the in-world way that they've made the game. When you open your inventory, you lay out the pack on the ground and you see all of the pieces just laying there on the ground. And when you like build a log cabin, you pick up a log on your shoulder, you walk over and you drop the log onto a stack of logs, which makes a log wall. It's not like you're just like snapping a hologram of a log wall that's fully formed and popping out of the ground. You're actually putting logs into a big stack, and that's how you make your cabin. That's a very cool parts of that game. I also played Rust. Speaking of another game that you can definitely play wrong. I played Rust. This is a few people in AIE, a couple of people that I've played Rust with before, are playing it on a public server. So part of the deal of playing on this particular public server is it's a little bit more, it's got some PvE rules associated with it, but not completely. There's still PvP areas. So if you go to any of like there's sort of like these monuments, it's a procedurally generated island, and then these big tip monuments, prefabbed monuments, like this is the oil refinery. They get plopped onto the map. So you never know exactly what it's going to look like when you start a Rust server. But those big monuments are all PvP areas. Well, noob, I've played Rust before, but it's been years, so I had a lot of work to do to relearn how to play the game. Ended up stumbling into some PvP area, and some player shot me in the back of the head. For one. For two, the NPCs are ruthless, especially if you're not wearing any armor and you're first starting out, they'll come kill you. So I died a handful of times to that. I also then have been like, then I got into the groove and I built up a base, but I built it up as I would on like a private PvE server. And that's a little bit of a mistake because people can still like mess with you even in the PvE areas, and people messed with some of my stuff, and that made me angry, and so that wasn't great either. So again, it's
like these would be strangers, right?
Yeah, because it's a public, it's a private server, but it's an open private server, and they are inviting anyone on the public to come play on their private server. So right. Basically I was playing wrong. If I'm gonna play on an open server like that, you need to play as if it's a PvP server, and you need to build a bunker, and you need to have everything locked down and put locks on everything, and have an airlock, which is, 2 doors, so nobody can like sneak into your base behind you, because people can just open your stuff and like take stuff out of your boxes and all of that kind of thing. So I was a little bit unhappy with that. Not completely, because I figured that could be the case, but it's also my less favorite way to play Rust. Because then it's just a bunch of constraints on then how you can play. Like you can't have windows on your base because windows are a weak point. Okay, well I don't want to, I would prefer to have like a big cool base with windows and balconies and big open garage and a picnic table, whatever I want to have. You can't do any of that. You can't have picnics if you're on a public server.
But can you do that in Ark? I mean, won't a dinosaur come by and
but you could put up some fences. Like players could jump over your fences and get around everything, and
I see
so
what you're saying.
it's not like you have to like make yourself a bunker. So in Ark, I've got big towers and big towers and balconies, and everything is like windows and glass, and it's a fun base. It's fun places to be at. It's really cool. You might have to have even some turrets that shoot the pterodons out of the sky that might come and attack you. But yeah, no, it's
I get that.
different. Yeah. The other thing that's interesting about this, which I can see pros and cons to, but the way they run this server is once every 2 weeks, they wipe the server completely and everyone has to start from scratch. There's 2 wipes. The mid-month wipe, they wipe completely, but you get to keep basically your blueprint progress. So you're kind of like have an unlock tree of, have you unlocked enough to be able to craft a gun? So you're progressing as you go to unlock those blueprints. So the mid-month wipe is to wipe all of everything except your blueprints, and the end of month wipe, which is once every 2 weeks, wipes everything, including your blueprints. But you're starting from scratch once every 2 weeks in terms of building. And that's also a less favorite game way for me to play this game too, because there's some really interesting things you can do in the late game. I remember 2 years ago when we last played Rust, you can build between wires and circuits and switches. There's like AND gates, OR gates, and timers. I was able to build like an automated watering system for a farm. and on a certain schedule, different timers would turn on and off, and there was moisture sensors, and there's no way you can do that in this kind of server. You're not going to be able to unlock stuff unless you're playing like 24 hours a day. You're not going to be able to unlock stuff in time, and by the time you got it all set up, the wipe would happen, and it's useless. I like that end game stuff. I would want to get into that end game stuff, and that's sort of what like this particular kind of build and server is just not designed for that. So less fun way for me to want to play, but still, Rust is still a good game for what it is. It's got a lot. They keep adding more. They've got a bunch of like boats and stuff that they've recently been added to the game, and kind of like almost naval combat. I can see the draw of even playing, but again, I was playing wrong. I would have to play it the way this kind of server needs to be played for it to make sense for me to go back and play again. So maybe next month, once they reset and wipe and we're past Resident Evil Requiem and everything else, I might jump on again with Corley and Kuda but play it as if it's a PvP server, and I'll make a bunker, and I'll just, be limited in what I make and build, and maybe even do some PvP. But that's the way I'd need to do it. All right. We might go just a little bit long here. Maybe we'll only talk about Windrose, and we'll put off talking about Star Trek Voyager until next week. Although, now I'll talk a little bit about it. All right. I'm going to rush through the two next things, Sema.
Okay. Rush.
Because even when I got a little bit bored of Rust, realizing that everything was going to be gone and I was playing it wrong, I was looking around, and part of Steam Next Fest, there's a new game that has a demo out right now called Windrose. So if you've not heard of Windrose, I'm not surprised, because it was it was called Crosswind originally in development. It's now called Windrose. There's a Windrose. Let me bring it up here. Windrose. It's a demo, so it's not even in early access, but it is good. It is good. So this is a survival game. So what we've got here, and I'll do a little visual on the screen here while we're talking. It's a pirate survival game, and it's explore, crafting, what you would typically expect from a survival game. You get shipwrecked on an island, and you have to pick up rocks and sticks. You have to build your crafting tables, and then there's a bunch of like building parts, almost pretty much like Valheim level building parts. So, walls and windows and ramps and doors and roofs, and you get a bunch of decorations. And the more decorations you place, make it more, give you a bigger rest bonus. And then the thing that they add on top of that is you get to find your shipwrecked ship and fix it with a crew, and then go out on the high seas. And then there's ship combat, and the ship combat includes boarding action. So all of what you would want out of like a pirate survival game, surviving on a desert island and building your stuff up. And then you add in like this ship combat, and you're out there, you're fighting against other pirate ships, and you sink them and you take all their loot. And while you attack them and bring down their defenses, then your crew, and you have to go out and gather a crew. They're like captured by other pirates on the island. They all then jump across. You have to physically jump across onto the other boat and fight all the other pirates on that other boat. And before you can like get all their treasure and, sink their boat and that kind of thing. It is really, really good looking. So I think this is going to be big.
Nice.
This demo is free right now. Anybody can go and play it. And if you're into this kind of survival game, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's very polished also. So this is made by a studio dedicated to this game in particular. They call themselves Windrose Crew. They renamed themselves. The reason they renamed themselves, they've been building this for the last couple of years. It was called Crosswind. And their original idea was, we're going to make an MMO. It's going to be a pirate themed MMO. And they realized given the current market, given the studio size that they are, given the complexities and cost of trying to create and maintain a full MMO live service, they said, how about if we don't? So they decided to even rename their studio and the game to make it clear that they were shifting directions, and called themselves Windrose. And it is multiplayer, and you'll be able to like host servers. You'll be able to get a bunch of people playing on the same server. I imagine they'll probably be even like be able to have PvP ship battles against your friends if you want to do that. But it's not an MMO. And there will be solo, like the demo right now is solo play, and it works really well for that. So I think it was probably a great move on their part. It makes a lot of sense to me from playing the game. But even so, it's very, very polished from what I can see in terms of the graphics, the models, the depth, the breadth of content that's available, the number of building parts, the number of decorations that you can put in your ship, the kinds of things that you can craft and build so far. The combat is pretty good. I'll talk about the combat in just a second. But I'm just surprised that this unknown studio from an unknown region has been able to do such a great job in putting this game together so far. And I really, hats off to them. Unknown region, because they're based in Uzbekistan. And I've not heard a lot of development coming out of Uzbekistan, and it's not a big industry there. So Tashkent, Uzbekistan. And as we all know, Tashkent is the capital of Uzbekistan, right?
I knew that. I did not know that.
I did not know that. Yeah.
I know what you mean, though. It's unknown to us as we watch gaming happening. It's not an unknown place.
Right. Unknown is as far as a center for the level of game that's coming out of this. Usually these kind of studios are founded in locations where there's support for that kind of industry. You're going to have, employees and coming out of, you'll get it out of like Poland a lot right now because of CD Projekt Red. You'll get it out of France. You'll get it out of England. You get it out of the US. You get it out of Canada.
The next Poland. Because Poland wasn't always that.
Right. And that's that's sort of like grown up in the last 10 years to be a sort of a hub of gaming. You get it out of Toronto because a lot of ex-Ubisoft are out of there. So to hear of a brand new studio out of a new region like that is really exciting. And as I say, hats off. They have to have, 100, if not hundreds of people working on it from what I've seen of the content that they've created in this product so far. It is just like the level of models and textures and animation and breadth of content that's created just for this demo so far. They're not even in early access. This seems to me to be AA level size studio that would be required to create this amount of content. And it's fun. It's good. I played it for a couple hours. I didn't get to fixing my ship up to be able to do the ship combat yet, because you need to level up enough to be able to rescue 7 pirates, because you can't fix a ship up yourself. You need to have a pirate squad. But I played a lot. I did like mining and building and built up my base and hut and did a bunch of crafting and made myself a whole new set of gear and a whole new set of weapons. There's pistols, there's black powder weapons and bladed weapons and bludgeoning weapons, like mace weapons so far. I think in the demo, they don't have a way for you to make black powder. So I have like 10 shots available to me in my gun, and it feels really good, but it's not like you can have a lot of gunplay because you're going to run out. I found a little bit of black powder in like 1 pirate cache, but that's it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm now a fan. It's on my wish list. This is something I'm looking to get into, and going to be eagerly awaiting for them to create and put out and publish. So good job them. And then last up, that I also played for a good amount of time this week, is Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown. So I played this. It was fine. It was less than I expected out of the game. But if you're a fan of Voyager's story, this might be exactly something that you've been dreaming of and wanting to play through. I would describe it as almost like a choose your own adventure walkthrough of the Star Trek Voyager series story. And if there's things you love about that story that you want to see again, if you want to visit with all of those characters again,
I was
however
going to
you're,
say, so it has the characters also from the show. I mean,
yes, some of them are voiced by actors from the series, but not all of them. But it's voice actors. You get to, and then wrapped around the story is kind of like a resource management point and click, turn-based opportunity to be managing the ship, managing a little bit of gaining new resources, and doing upgrades along the way. There's not really, the only little bits of action that there are is ship-to-ship combat that you'll get involved in from time to time. And even that is pretty basic. You get to say, okay, I'm going to prioritize front shields and I'm going to click on, torpedoes and then just sort of like let half the battle play out. And then maybe I'll click on 2 more things and the rest of the battle plays out.
so I have a couple of questions about that. Like, before that kind of battle happens, are there story pieces where you try detente first or try every other thing like they would do in the show? They don't just like come out blasting like we do in games
Yes.
in the show.
So it is RPG-ish that way. And it does this interesting thing where it follows the major plot points of the Voyager series, but allows you to choose a different path, potentially. So if there was a scene in the show where you came across some Klingons or whatever, and there was a diplomatic solution in the show, you may have an option to duke it out with them instead, or vice versa. If there was a battle, ship to ship battle with the Borg, you might be able to do a mission which avoids that in some way. It's not going to be just diplomacy with the Borg,
Okay.
but whatever.
Yeah.
The diplomacy and the away missions and all of that kind of thing is much more sort of just, again, point and click on, okay, an away mission has come up. You need to go down to this planet to see what's going on to, episode 1 of Voyager is why, what is this entity that's like trapped these people on this planet doing and how do we get around that? You basically pick 2 of your crew members because there's 2 slots on this away mission. You assign them to the away mission and then the screen comes up with the conversation that they have. And you get to pick your choice of how you respond and which of the crew members you've assigned to the mission respond. So you never control an NPC or control a character. You never walk around. You never pull out your phaser and aim it and fire it. There's none of that. You're basically picking conversation choices based on who you've assigned to the mission, what their strengths and weaknesses are. There's some dice rolls associated with that. That's
Do you
it.
even have a character then, or
No, you don't have a character.
okay?
Yeah, no,
okay.
you don't like create a character for yourself. You're controlling all of the characters of the Voyager, and
Oh, I see. Okay.
and adding new ones along the way. You're also building out the ship because it's like all wrecked after you got flung into the Delta Quadrant, and that's a little bit like how altars worked, or you get sort of like the side view, and you need to first assign a engineer resource to clear the wreckage of this room, and that takes 2 cycles. And so it's like this whole resource thing that's going on. Every cycle you consume dilithium because your generator needs dilithium every day, some amount, depending on how many rooms you have unlocked. And so that's going to take 2 cycles to clear that room. And you only have 2 engineering resources. So one could be like building something, one could be fixing something, or one could be clearing rubble, and then one could be building something. And each thing takes a different number of cycles, of different number of days. So there's that kind of resource management game going on, which is pretty good. The resource management game is pretty compelling. But in Altars, first of all, you had your own character, And you physically walked around the base, which was each of these rooms, and did things in the base. And then you exited the base and you walked around the planet and explored and harvested resources directly and set up mining operations in the little zone where you were. And when you needed to talk to your alters, the other NPCs, you physically walked around in your base and you walked up to them and you tapped them on the shoulder, and then the cutscene of you talking to them would show up. It was a much more physical, tactile experience in the altars, and for me, a much more interesting experience.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm not a big. I watched a fair amount of Voyager when it was originally out. Wasn't a big Voyager super fan though, and so that part of it, which is really the point of this game, isn't as compelling to me. Such that I would much prefer a game where I do get to get out and walk around and shoot things with a phaser, if I'm going to play a game like that.
Would you set your phaser to stun?
Only if it was not if it was cannibals. If I have to go fight cannibals,
Right.
of course.
Right.
If it's bowling pins, I would set it to stun because those poor pins they've suffered enough.
And you have to think of the child pins.
Yes. I knocked them all down, not just the man pins, but the women pins and the child pins as well. I knocked them down like animals. So yeah, it's getting good reviews. And as I said, if you're a fan of Voyager, that must be what it's for. And that is what it's for. So you would enjoy it from that perspective. Being able to play through the main story beats of the Voyager series on your journey home. So that's interesting. A couple other weird choices. Oh, just one minor, really grating choice is because it's this story-based adventure and you need to be making choices that matter. They don't have save points and you can't manually save the game. So it sort of saves at the end of a sequence or a chapter, which could be 15 to 30 minutes of progress.
Ooh.
So if you're in the middle of something and you need to leave, you either need to pause the game and leave it up, or you could end up losing your last half hour of gameplay.
Yikes.
And there's no way to save. I guess because they don't want you to save scum before a conversation. But that did not feel good. I did not like that. Did not like that one bit. I felt that was a very weird choice. So that was my major pain point of the game. Otherwise, as I said, I wasn't compelled to go back to it, but of the time I was playing with it, I was pretty compelled of just getting into little resource management game of I got to get up a little more dilithium so that I could fly over here. That's going to take 3 cycles to fly this way. I'll clear out this room, but I don't want to power on my bonus, my extra big shield, because that's going to take up too much power. So I'm doing a power management, tricks. So that little sort of strategy game going on the side was compelling enough. Yeah, that's it. So number 1 game of the week was probably Windrose. Big surprise highlight that sort of popped into everyone's radar. I think they've ended up with a million wish lists now. Out of this Steam Next Fest. They had a bunch going into it as well. They deserve it. That's going to be really fun. This Star Trek game is good for Star Trek fans. It sounds like a lot of Star Trek fans it's getting good ratings, so I'm sure they're going to be happy with it. And a lot of big games coming this next week. I think it's going to be some fun times for us.
Yes.
All right. Anything else for today then, Sema? Or does that wrap us up?
Nope. Just need more hours in the day.
We sure do. We sure do. So let's break it off for today so that we can go play some games.
Yeah.
And for now, all the feed and subscribe links are on newoverlords.com, and our video is up on YouTube/newoverlords. Please come chat with us in our Discord at newoverlords.com/Discord. And you can also follow on all the social networks, and we'll keep you up to date there too. And with that, we will talk to you. Oops. Jump the gun there on the end screen. We'll talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.
Now.